what a complex kind of show, just from so many different angles. When you talk about success and we talk about the business of wrestling, like I think it's pretty untouchable in that regard. Um, I think I there was never have I watched a show where it was so much, hey, I like this show overall,
Hmm.
and then I left the show like, damn, like this shit is like I have lots of questions and
Yeah.
concern about the direction of the main events in this company. I was damn near throwing a temper tantrum in the group chats about like what I watched. It was you know I was watching it, and it was almost everything I didn't like about the storyline leading into it come to life. What
Yeah.
I felt like it was happening the whole time. I felt like these guys were doing their best. We want to be in WWE audition tape right there. This is the biggest main event, or the main event of the biggest show of all time. A chance to be legendary. This is what they gave us. I was just baffled that they would put that. No, I'm gonna address this right now. This elite do melodrama, so I don't get it stuff.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Stop this!
No,
Stop this! For one, like
they do. They do it differently,
this is not
and
no no
it's not
no.
in it is not in major disservice of the match. So
No,
no, it's not the same thing at all.
we're getting blow away wrestling from some of that stuff, and two, the MJF Adam Cole thing is clearly fake as fuck. The reason why this shit with the elite works is because everybody knows there's actual years of backstory and them, like, like real life friendship they're playing off. It's not a fake storyline that like they're just doing shit like where they they're showing up eating Chinese food and pretending it's too spicy. Like, nah, not the same at all. Like,
And
I've seen
also,
this very bad argument, and
yeah,
I'm like, bro, like these niggas were in the middle of the match acting like they didn't want to win.
this match. If you want to make comparisons to things that are more actually apples to apples, as opposed to saying it's all fruit. Let's go to like in WWE. You want to say Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens going to WrestleMania 33. They had a festival of friendship. They had the wacky friendship where they were doing the funny comedy buddies things, and then eventually was a turn, and then they fought each other over well, it wasn't a belt because they lost the belt, but they ended up fighting because someone got turned on, right? That match during the match, like, was a wrestling match. And like if you did not know the video package or anything else, you say, oh, this was a wrestling match between two heated people or whatever else. What we got in the main event, and I guess this is where we start the show, or like the clip or whatever else is like, this is a match between two people. Both of them are assholes. One is an asshole that we like. One is an asshole that we don't because he's trying so hard to get booed, even though he should have been cheered a year ago. Whatever. He still got booed because the one guy we like is starting to take a liking to him. We like them, and it turned into a bromance, and that's great. Like, I'm okay with the bromance stuff. I just mentioned Jericho and Owens, right? Uh, the problem for me is when it turns into basically a rom com, and it's almost like some 10 things I hate about you shit. Where like at the very end of it, we can go through the match, but at the very end of it, MJF is like, wow, this guy really only wanted me for the belt. He was using me, and is like, oh, I was just a job. I was just a job. Well, why don't you just? And he's crying. He's like, why don't you just hit me with the belt and put me out of misery then? And then like Orange, and then not Orange. Adam Cole is like, I really do like this guy, and I really always kept a guard to him, but I did start to like him. Then they hug again, and whatever, that's fine. The thing for me is like all the stuff in the match of them, him and Han, on whether or not two grown adults that are friends can fight over the top prize in the promotion. It's like I see this shit in every other promotion where, yeah, you can. Tokyo Joshi Pro, they go out there and everybody fucking fights their ass off, loses, and then what they do? They go up on the fucking stage and they all hug because they were fighting to see who was the best. It's okay to fight to see who's the best. These two were fighting over the love for each other instead of just fighting for who's the best, and then we can figure out if like this thing brings us closer together or not. Like, they did all of that in the service of the friendship was more important than the actual belt. I don't like that. Like, I'm sorry, like that's not
Like
It was the
not
main
only
event.
did I
It
did
was
not
main
like
event
it.
stuff. That's something you put in like third from the top or whatever else if that's what you want to do.
Not only did I not like it, I didn't buy it at all. Like, and it was like the whole thing, like when he threw the belt and all that shit, and then the dropping the dialogue during the match, after the
That's the
match.
stuff you want to get into when you talk about the bloodline stuff that we also hate.
We
like fundamentally.
like
It's not a wrestling
I
match.
felt like I was watching the bloodline. Like all the same complaints I've had about the bloodline stuff all year were present here. And I'm not going to come on this show and be like, oh, because it's AEW. Look, and two.
That's what people are doing. And they're looking at us like we're crazy.
And if this is now AEW, then I'm going to treat it as such. Because like, I'm like, hold on. This is not like what happened to the alternative. When we got MJF out here living out his 2005 WWE fantasies out here, and then Adam Cole, you know, known to do some of this stuff in NXT. I'm like, what is this?
This is worse than any NXT match he's ever had, though.
This felt like a bad NXT main event, and it was just like, I just don't get it. And the worst part is people were going fucking crazy for it, and I was just like,
I'm glad people like it. It's not for me. I'm not on the thing where like it's awful. My thing is like, if you want to compare it to, if you want to compare it to the bloodline stuff, whatever else, one, they haven't done it nearly as much. I think the complaint would be the other promotion is doing it to death, and now you are doing it, so it's derivative. So you want to make a complaint that's perfectly
like stop
fair.
being influenced. Be something else.
The thing for me is like, I wanted to see in front of 80,000 people a match that people could call a classic, not a match that people will come out and say, "Oh, it's cinema." You know what I mean? Like that's not what I wanted. And like they gave me that in the first match. Why did the first match? And obviously the first match plays on the second, or the second match plays on the first match with the whole 5-minute thing. But the second that bell rang after the double clothesline, I looked over at Jamie and Zach and I rolled my eyes and said, 5 more minutes. And that's exactly what it did. 5 more minutes. No, we're going to go. And then I was like, and then they started wrestling again and they started doing the nonsense and then they pick it up and I was like, this ain't exactly Shuri versus Utami after the draw, was it?
I saw that Dusty Finish thing and I was just like, I have like a log where I'm like, yeah, man, this shit ain't hitting. And then I was like, wow, it went from not hitting to sucking. Wow, it went from sucking to awful. Wow, it went from awful to I don't know what the fuck I'm watching anymore. I saw this and I was like, this is what's like representing the main event. Like, wow. Like I come out here and watch Will Ospreay an hour earlier come in here and blow the building down. Like I'm like, what
DCC and
like where's the competition?
Eddie Kingston and all them. The Stadium Stampede was awesome.
Like
even if they missed like half or a quarter of the damn spots,
every interaction between Omega and Takeshita on fire. And then
every interaction between Moxley and Kingston.
Look, and then I got these niggas in t-shirts wrestling in the main event. What are we doing? Like, I was just baffled at this, and it was just like the entire it was the entire storyline come to life. And maybe I'm crazy for expecting something else. Maybe I'm crazy for expecting them to go in there and wrestle their ass off and find out who's the better man and beat somebody. And
why?
Without
they did it in the first. Why they did it in the first match? Don't give me a preview match and then completely not even do anything except for one core storyline aspect from the second match. Then you have the part where like it really into the nuts and bolts of it. Why I also hated some of this stuff. It was like, all right, y'all are being too cute by half over and over and over. You know, like some of the times I get on the Young Bucks stuff for like, okay, somebody's ran into somebody, they must have like the field of vision of 45 degrees, like they're a fucking Sentry in Metal Gear Solid. So the Bryce Remsburg Panama Sunrise Canadian Destroyer.
Oh my god, that when I saw that shit, I was like,
for MJF to get out the way, and then as Adam Cole jumps off, makes a shot for say, oh my god, it's not him. Jumps down upon Bryce Remsburg and then jumps again to do the Canadian Destroyer, which got caught on camera with the bad camera angle where Bryce Remsburg's head doesn't even come within a foot of the fucking canvas, but he's out for literally like 90 seconds or whatever else. Then the slowest slow count I've ever seen a ref do, and it's telegraphing it like he's definitely not kicking out of this. Crowd goes fucking wild. I'm like, oh my god, this isn't for me. This main event is not for me. The rest of the show, for the most part, this was where they lost me completely.
It's like, yo, we know who does this. Like, we know what promotion does this. And maybe this is a weird thing with them being in the UK, and the UK is like a bunch of WWE fans who have been trained off of SummerSlam 1992 that were just gonna go crazy or whatever. But man, if this is the direction right here, you're gonna get a dramatically different tone, and you're gonna get me willing the belt off of MJF. Like, this is ridiculous.
I'm already there.
This is ridiculous. Like,
I'm already there.
Like, it's like, nah, man. Like, that. I hated this match.
Rich,
I hated this match. Rich. I think this is one of the worst AEW main events of all time. Like, I thought this was damn near. It was borderline an embarrassment. Just like knowing, like, yo, what these two are capable of. Two. Seeing like exactly like the shit that happened at SummerSlam a month ago, and then WrestleMania before that, and then Elimination Chamber, like all that shit, and it's like, stop being influenced. Like,
look, I'm okay. Look, wrestling will take influence and stuff from everything around them that they see, right? Like you talk about the elite. The elite is, particularly in Kenny Omega, has been definitely influenced by Joshi Pro Wrestling. I don't care where the influences are from. I don't care. I care about
because this shit is supposed to be the alternative. This is supposed to be the alternative. What are we doing?
Just let me finish my point, Rich. My point is, your influence shouldn't be an exact carbon copy. Your influence should be modulation. If you want to have that match with like all the nonsense of the goofy storyline stuff involved in melodrama, if you want to cut that down 75%, there's a match there. They decided to say, we're going to do more melodrama than actual wrestling or seeing who's the best or get to a sense of desperation via the action. It was all storyline stuff. And it was all basically like the goofy storyline stuff they've done on screen put into the ring. And there should be a separation between both or very emerging as like this big between both. Like this was very dissatisfying. And so for me, like when we talk about like the influence of WWE or whatever else all throughout the show, right? Like we just got Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay, and like they did a contract signing, right? Like you can get influence from places that you may not like the totality of the stuff they do, or you might like dislike most of the stuff they do, whatever else. But like that contract signing was fun as fuck. We got those mostly from WWE over all them years. Like, so we can't just say like everything WWE does is shit. And I'm not saying you're saying that. But like, if you're going to take stuff at a time when they're heavy on the cinema wrestling, if you will, the soap opera heavy dialogue, heavy stuff in the wrestling matches, then like you can't do it basically exactly how they do it, except you do more flips. You can't be Bloodline plus flips. So you mentioned the MJF thing about you're saying he's starting to come to the point where you want to towel off him. After the second that belt ended, I sent a message saying like I want him off the belt. I've had enough. Like this is for a lot of people a satisfying conclusion to the show or whatever else, and I'm okay with them being friends after whatever else. I'm perfectly fine with that. I just hated the match, and like once you throw in like I didn't like the match. And then you look at what happened with the build towards the Four Pillars match, where the match is fire, but the build has people careers being altered negatively. Then you go back to like when he won the belt off Moxley, and his whole thing was about Regal and Regal leaving, and whether or not Moxley was going to convince MJF to actually be a real man for once. And then he finally and then he doesn't after all because Regal bails him out, and we got an unsatisfying thing. It's like, what did he do at Revolution? I don't even remember what he did at Revolution this year.
Fought Danielson.
That was good. So
and half of that feud was weird.
Right, because he was spewing a bunch of weird stuff with us. But like the match is fire. So for me, I'm at a point now where it's like, okay, we have now gotten basically close to a year of MJF in the main event title picture, and like he's basically 1 for 4 based off feud, build, payoff, satisfying conclusion, or you can say he's half, depending on if you like this match or not. But for me, it's like Nah, man, I've eaten enough. Like for me, I haven't disliked a AEW World Title reign this much ever. Like even the Punk stuff, was like getting to a point where he got injured a lot of ways, but the stuff he was doing on TV and then the matches were satisfying. Like I felt like we were seeing who was the best or who was the grittiest or all that kind of stuff. This is never about anything. It's always about, oh, he pulls out the ring and decks somebody. Oh, he took the easy way out. Oh, now he's a good guy, even though he won off a fucking roll up in the main event of a building of a show that had 80,000 people in it. Look, I get it. I get it. I know Bret Hartism is rampant all in AEW. You ain't got to recreate that shit, man. Beat that man in the middle. Just beat him in the middle.
Look, we
still know the better man is.
Hey, there's a comment that major problem is this is the only thing that's popping. I mean, it's easy to be the only thing that's popping when there's nothing else being booked like around you or getting as much time like this. Like it's easy like to hide like all your best wrestlers in trios matches and multi-man matches while this is the only real singles representation that gets there outside of, a Will Ospreay match or something like that. Like it's easy to stand out.
It is really easy to do that when, like, you got to blow up a fucking hot thing right after you did it because of apparently visa issues, another set around. Like, all of this stuff is falling upon each other. It is like, it's feeling like a house of cards ready to tumble upon each other. And, like, at the top is this thing that people like and is really cute and everything. And, like, I'm glad people like it and whatever else. But, like, I don't know the sustainability of this whole thing. And, like,
honestly, I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned about sustainability.
Even if they stay friends, I don't want to see them face the fucking Kingdom. I'm sorry, no.
Like there's that, and then
find better opponents.
Aussie Open was out here made to look like goofs.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't see
doing that whole thing, and it was just like exactly what I didn't want. And then I was shocked they won. I was like, well, okay, I guess. Then I was like, well, why'd they do this? And then the whole thing, like with them, still having the belts and they're still friends. I was like, well, what was the point of all this? And it was just like I don't look at these guys and what they're doing and then feel like someone's trying to be the best for the world title. Like,
nope.
I don't get that. And
nope.
I don't know. Maybe I'm the one that's messed up for expecting the world title to be like, yo, I feel like, when I watched the Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar feud this year and then like how it paid off, and I was like, man, that was almost about true competition, and it was about somebody trying to whoop somebody for I didn't know why they were trying to whoop somebody or whatever, right?
Definitely you didn't, because the real answer was because Cody should have had the belt and that should have been over the belt, but they couldn't do that, so they never gave you an explanation because it's WWE. Yeah.
Right. So like when I did that, it's like, okay. And then I contrast that to Roman having the belt. Like, this is how I felt. Like, we're even saying, well, if it makes you feel better, we're getting Omega Takeshita. Yes, we are. We're getting it 1 week later instead of in the big stadium.
y'all don't get how, like, all this stuff is kind of weird, man. All this, like, nothing is running, like, optimally in this promotion right now. Even if they, and that's lets you know how embarrassing.
That's before you get to Big CM, settling all scores backstage.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But like nothing, like going into this show, it felt like nothing was running optimally, really. Like, and I'm just sitting like, well, I know I still got, like, for me as a viewer, like I'm still waiting to when we get to Kingston versus Moxley. I'm still waiting for when we get to Takeshita versus Omega. I'm still waiting to see like what is like the full plan of the Callis stuff versus the Elite and Omega, right? Like those are my things as a fan that I'm still into, whatever else. Like Orange Cassidy and Moxley too, right? But like you mentioned the whole part where like it's not about competition. It's like, and that I'm with you, and like I've given it grace considering that MJF is a heel. So MJF is always talking about taking these out, and he's done it in all his matches. That's why no one ever gets truly wins in any of his stuff in big matches. I'm fine with that. He's a heel. But now this is his babyface turn. And I still couldn't fucking get it. Like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, even when he's a good guy, I still get fucked over. I still have my time just completely wasted by the guy. Great. Cool. That was 30 minutes down the drain.
Hangman Page can't get booked week to week. And we start with these pre-tapes though. We got these pre-tapes.
Anytime we see Swerve or Moxley, anytime we see Swerve or Penta or Phoenix in a match that you give a damn about, they're coming out there to fucking lose at this point too. Like, there's a lot of stuff where like I know that like this company is not built for everything to be for me. I would like for some of it to be at least a section of it, and like when you do the 80,000, the 80,000 show, and then you have a pay-per-view the week after, so now you have to save like your big guns for the smaller show. It's like, y'all hustling backwards. I get it. Like, you're ahead on tickets, but fuck, man. Now you got a 1 week build to a pay-per-view.
Yeah. And I'm looking at, what's on paper for that before the Moxley match gets announced, and I'm like, this is a one-match show plus Collision. That's what's going on here. But yeah, I guess that was the review for the main event. And I hated it. Try again.
Like, hey, Rich, you still got the from SummerSlam review when you had a notepad or a post-it written up. Do you have that? Yeah. It's got to. Oh, I don't think it pull. Oh no, the other side. The other side says something on it. Yeah, go to hell.
Go to hell.
Like, yeah, I almost wrote one. And I didn't know what's my frame, like if it was going to be inverted or if it was going to be regular. So I didn't know. I was going to write something down. I was like, yo, this main event it was going to say suck my dick. I hate this shit, bro. But go to hell is a good feeling.
Yeah. I'm sure people liked it. We're gonna sound abrasive.
I'm not mad.
People.
Look,
I'm
not mad.
I get it, but I'm sorry. I demand more. I demand more in the world title matches. I'm not just gonna be like
because I'm not mad at anyone that liked it, because personally, like, the whole idea of they have like the friendship thing overcomes, and MJF is a baby face. I'm good with fundamentally because it's about time for the baby face. I don't like the idea that he's baby face now. He's still giving me shitty finishes. He's still giving me shitty results. We never find out who the actual better person really is. It's a bunch of cheating and two adorable scams trying to con each other with Eddie Guerrero spots and who can top each other.
Oh,
and all
can I address this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm tired of the Eddie Guerrero tributes. Fold it up. We get it at this point. All that. Like, I'm tired of it. We've seen it, bro. It's a wrap. Jesus, man. Like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing? It's too much. Like, I saw like several different parts of this match, and it was just like, what is happening here? What happened to the game I love?
Yeah, that's what I felt, man. I just felt like it's a lot of this is not for me, and it's the main event of their biggest show, and like I've kind of like pretty much every other match has kind of been for me. So like maybe I'm being bratty or whatever else, but like I also feel like, damn, bro, like I know people like this. I just disagree. I just fundamentally disagree, and I'm stand on it. Like,
yeah, just same.
I'm standing on ethics. I'm not going for it, man. Just not going for it. Change it up or take the belt off of him. Sorry.
That's pretty much it.
And now that he's a babyface,
do his opponents switch now?
Who are his opponents? Or is he going to be really so much doing tag match with Cole that it doesn't matter?
We gonna see.
And like, this is the part that I get back, like when they talk about like everything's working suboptimally compared to where it used to be, right? Like, so Adam Cole, before he got injured and came back, he hurt the Young Bucks by turning on his friends, and then he left because he had a concussion issue or whatever else. Then he comes back, and we're happy to see him because we thought his career may be over, but not because like he did any substantial change. He came back. The only thing that had changed was the time on the calendar, right? Mm-hmm. And then he gets into this, and it's like, so the person that's redeeming him is so a bastard just redeemed another bastard. Not about baby faces, being nothing but assholes the whole way around. This because we like them. Okay, y'all want to do that for other people? Y'all want to go up for other people like this? I guarantee you, because there's a guy by the name of Phil Brooks. He left. He was an asshole when he left. He came back, got controversial 50-50, acts everywhere he goes. I understand that off-screen stuff is definitely more important than the on-screen stuff or whatever else, why people don't like that dude. But you get my point, is like, there's nothing that CM Punk did on-screen in kayfabe to get that kind of derision. Meanwhile, Adam Cole, MJF, shoot the confetti off, fellas. We got him. scam artists. Got them. Marks. All of y'all.
Yeah, man.
And like, don't get me wrong. Look, like you can also say the same thing about Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega was a heel when he left, came back, and what time he just came back with the Elite. So it's all good. Like this companies take better care of this kind of shit. They don't now, and it's annoying. And then we'll talk about it when we get to.
There's a quality control issue happening somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. Like things are falling through the cracks at rapid pace, and it's becoming less and less enjoyable to follow this shit week to week and try to track all this stuff. It's just literally like it's just like any other pro wrestling company that you grew up watching, and it didn't used to be like that as far as taking care of characters and where they're going. And it seems like the only person that seems to like really have a pulse on that kind of stuff is like the BCC and Kingston now. It's weird.
All right, let's keep going. So